All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of the program. I am merely Bo. He's the Great Z.
Still doesn't know how to work a Zoom in 2026. Crushing it.
Is that Gibby?
Is he here? There he is.
I don't
I'm
know.
here. Oh, yeah,
There's
baby.
the kid. There's the kid.
Locked and loaded.
Look
Locked
at you.
and loaded.
Great.
Where's little Z?
You want to join the Zoom?
Yeah, join the Zoom.
I
Join
am
the Zoom
joining
so
the
we can see you.
Zoom. Why don't you relax there,
3:01. You're late.
Where's little Z?
I'm not late. I was precise. I was on the phone, ready to roll.
Where's
On the
little Z?
conference. It currently napping. It has been.
Oh, my gosh.
We are in. This is tough. This has been tough. The only good part of today was I took him for a drive for about 2 hours to run some errands, and that was like the only time that he's been. And he was fine, but it's tough. He's got
teeth still?
teething.
Yeah.
He's got teething going on. He's got the stranger danger thing happening, which I guess peaks. It's funny. I don't remember any of this stuff with Art and Bryce. I don't remember any of these things. And now they talk about the regressions and the jumps, the leaps, and this, that. And I'm like, how do they know so much more about babies than they did 15 years ago? But I guess they do. Maybe they're talking to babies. I don't know.
I think they're all
I wish
different,
he could
right?
talk.
Like we have, I have three. They were every 2 years. One, I mean, you do it all the same, but kids are just different. Like, I think
100%.
what's probably the crazy thing for you is like he has been, and you and I've talked about this before. He has been a model infant,
Model child.
Like when you tell me like how long he sleeps and sleeps straight through and all of that stuff, it's just impossible that that's the case. And so this is probably the first time where my guy ain't quite feeling it.
No, nobody's feeling
Little
it.
Z.
I'll tell you something. Yeah, nobody's feeling it.
Little Zogs.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
they say it is a good sign though that he's still sleeping through the night. So that I
Yeah.
guess that's good. As I got my look at this shirt. How do you like that?
Oh, there you go. There you go. Driving the car thing is the secret weapon. Just pop them in. Let's go on an adventure, buddy. Eyes are big. Let's go see. Half the time they fall asleep within the first 15 minutes. Wins for everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to do a public service announcement too for all the people out there who wear gold jewelry, especially the ladies that have intricate gold jewelry. Don't wear it in hot tubs. So apparently chlorine is an enemy of gold. And Miss K has a beautiful diamond tennis bracelet that she wore into a hot tub, and now the links are just disintegrating.
What?
And, yeah, like I think there was a lot of chlorine at the time. It's crazy. So we got it repaired. They fixed it, and then within 6 hours, we're putting it back on it again. And the guy's like, listen. So I don't even know if there's a feasible solution because
I've never heard of such a thing.
Literally get an entire new gold setting. Price of gold, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, not very low these days.
Yeah.
And then remove each individual diamond and then reset it into a new. So I don't know what's going to happen here, but that's just didn't know it before, never heard it, and they're like, oh yeah, was she in chlorine or something? It looks like it has chlorine down. I'm like, I feel like gold would scoff at chlorine.
I would think so. I mean, it's an element.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Feel like it would do just fine. Wow.
No, it's like kryptonite to the son of Jamel.
I had not heard that. And I'm trying to. I feel like I've definitely wore gold in a pool.
It's probably also because it's a tennis bracelet, so like there's so many little individual links. There's so many like little points between each stone.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That it's more compromised than like what you would wear. I had my gold chain, my chain on my neck on it was fine.
Fine, yeah.
It's more like a rope.
Sure, yeah.
So just something.
So all of this has happened since last I saw you?
Well, we had taken it.
We got.
This happened when we were down in Florida, and then we came back, got it fixed. I just picked it up, and then over the weekend it happened. So then when I was looking for things to do with young Master Luca, I was like, all right, we're going to go get this. Let's go get this sorted out. And they were just like, didn't have really great news for me. So
not a lot of great. So this was all today for you.
Yeah, and those believe it or not, those are the two most peaceful hours of the day right there.
Well, it's peaceful right now. He's just chilling.
I mean, right now it's really great.
It's great.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right, we have a coaching staff, buddy. I don't know if you saw this.
You don't have to worry about me working from home, like on the reg. No.
No thanks.
No thanks. Nope. That office is a sanctuary.
We officially have a coaching staff, so we've talked about this.
How about it?
There you go. 29-member coaching staff, in fact.
It's quite a bit bigger than what it's been in years past.
I believe. Well, yeah, you would have a better handle on that than I would. But yeah, it is. It's quite a bit bigger. I don't think there were any surprise. I think we've talked about almost all of these, have we not? As you're looking at the list,
let's see.
I think we've talked about
we didn't know
Schweitzer, Breyer.
Yeah, we knew that.
Blasco, Warhop.
Assistant O-line coach Bobby Johnson.
Assistant O-lines, Bajakian, quarterback coach. Talked about him.
By the way, Bobby Johnson was the Commanders' offensive line coach.
Yes.
And he's now our assistant, so that feels like a win when you can do that. Bajakian, Matt Baker, that's first I'd heard of that.
So Matt Baker, assistant quarterback coach, joins the Browns as assistant quarterback coach after spending 2 seasons with the Steelers as an offensive assistant, 24-25. First NFL coaching position came with the Falcons as a special teams assistant in 23. Prior to joining the Falcons, Baker spent 3 seasons at John Carroll University from 20 to 22 as a quarterback coach before adding offensive coordinator title in 2022. John Carroll, kind of the cradle of coaches.
It really is crazy. That also means that Matt Baker's an Artie Smith guy.
There you go. Christian Jones as receivers. John Wozniak as assistant receivers coach. 25 years coaching experience, different collegiate programs. Most recently an offensive assistant is Arizona State. So you and he will butt heads. Rivalry.
That's right. Of course. Down.
Deuce back.
How's the Arizona State basketball team? I haven't heard anything about them.
Nothing. They play Kansas tonight. I think it'll go quite well for the Jayhawks.
Did Arizona hold on last night? That was too late for me to see if
they did.
They held against Iowa State.
Yeah, they won the Big 12.
They went on like a 10-0 run. They were just dominant on the Bobby Olsen court. Tarv.
The great Tarv. What a champion.
Giving him love.
What a champion.
By the way, we should ask him about his defensive assistant line. He has an assistant linebacker.
He's got a Costanza.
Of course he does.
He's got an assistant to the traveling secretary.
But I'm trying to figure out the bio.
All right. I'm going to get to that. I'm just finishing up the offensive side.
Yeah, when you get to that, special.
Ian Colsty, offensive quality control. Sanders Davis, offensive assistant, offensive line. Offensive analyst Travis Munkin. So Munkin joins the Browns as an offensive analyst after 2 seasons with Purdue, working with the offensive quality control. Prior to joining the Boilermakers, Munkin served as student assistant with Oklahoma State from 20 to 23, working with tight ends and fullbacks. So Todd brings his kid. That's awesome.
That's awesome. So he would have been there with Wozniak, who was the running backs coach at Oklahoma State during that time.
Yeah. Offensive assistant Dom Borsani on that side of things. And then you get to the defensive side. Rutenberg, of course, we've talked about. The great Tarv, the great Bonda, all of our buddies, Jacques Césaire, Brandon Lynch, all back. We knew that, but that's cool. And new titles.
Yep, new titles. Run game coordinator and linebackers for Tarv, pass game coordinator for Bonda, defensive backs coach, pass game specialist for B. Lynch.
Awesome.
And this is cool as well. Jeff Anderson. So Jeff Anderson and Zach Dunn both got promotions. So you have a defensive assistant, nickelbacks coach Jeff Anderson, defensive assistant linebacker, been with us for years. Anderson, of course, famously was Dr. J's flag football quarterback, who was erroneously besmirched at one point.
Shameful. Like, come on, Murph. Like, put in the quarterback accolades.
Yeah,
they should be in there. Yeah,
he was a Division I quarterback.
Was Jeff Anderson besmirched, or
that's what Jeff Anderson was,
or did he besmirch Dr. J?
I mean, I think
Dr. J bodybagged him.
Yeah, I think Dr. J mall walked him.
Oh no! He mall walked the guy. Put him on a leash.
He mall walked him, which was crazy. Jeff Anderson's resume.
Yeah, it is. Defensive quality control, Paul Warlow joins on that. Who was the one where you wanted me to bring special attention to?
I was trying to figure out the Zach Dunn bio.
All right. Dunn first joined the Browns in 2020 as a defensive assistant, adds assistant linebackers responsibilities beginning in 2026. During 6 seasons with the Browns, defensive end Myles Garrett was named to the Pro Bowl and All-Pro team 6 seasons, was named the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year, also set the single-season sack record. So that
you're shortchanging Zach Dunn a little bit.
I feel like
you're shortchanging
cut and paste right there.
I think like it feels like it's
it does.
Yeah,
that's interesting right there.
Because then it goes back to in 2025, Dunn aided with linebackers, where second-round pick Carson Swisher was named the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know. He must have been integral with Miles. Is that the thing, or are we cut and paste? I'm not sure.
I have no idea what happened there because it says during 6 seasons with the Browns, Miles has played more than 6 seasons with the Browns.
Yeah.
Jacques Césaire hasn't been here 6 seasons.
Right.
So Dunn has been here 6 seasons.
Yeah.
An
I
enigma
feel like
wrapped
we got to
in a
get
mystery.
Dunn in here with Tarver and give him a proper recognition.
Yeah.
You'd know him if you saw him walking around
Yes.
for 100%. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was like you're coming after Tarv's assistant here. Like, how about him and Anderson? Let's shower them with the rightful praise.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think that's
with
fair.
you.
All right, so there you go. So we had talked about a great many of this stuff. A couple of things jump out to me. Of course, Dom Capers on the staff as well, multiple-time NFL head coach, and really one of the better defensive minds of the last 50 years probably in football. So 2 things jump out to me, and I'm curious your thoughts on both. Number one, the size. This is a big staff. And then the second thing that is interesting to me is it's a really nice mix of ultra-experienced. There's a ton of experience on the staff. There's a bunch of guys who've been coaching for a long time.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, the assistant offensive line was just previously with the commies running their offensive line. Like in some instances, wildly qualified for the task.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at what we're doing here. Obviously, Schweitzer is a first-year offensive coordinator, but you think of Todd's actually calling the plays, 37 years of coaching experience. You go down to, you mentioned Bobby Johnson, for example, the assistant offensive line coach. He's got 29 years of coaching experience, 16 in the NFL, by the way. And he is, if you saw him at the Combine, he was the guy in the Browns gear that is jacked out of his mind.
Oh, okay.
He looks like he could go today. I mean, all of these guys have a ton of experience, which is really it is a very, very, very experienced staff, especially when you add in some of the guys on the defensive side and Dom, all of that. Dom Capers. I mean, Tar's been a coach for forever, and he's amazing. Coach Bonda's been DC at the collegiate level. Jacques Césaire has been in the league not only as a player but as a coach. I mean, all of it. This is a good staff. It is significantly bigger. One thing about Jim Schwartz is Jim Schwartz liked his defensive staff to be very, very small. And so I think if you go back and look at it last year, it was really just the 4 position coaches, him, and then you had some defensive assistant quality control guys. That was it.
Yeah.
I think there was an assistant D-line coach, but there was not any linebackers. Jeff Anderson was, I guess, with the DBs and worked with V. Lynch and Bonda. But, yeah, this is a significantly bigger coaching staff than we had previously, significantly so.
Yeah, so those things jump out. And as I mentioned, a lot of this stuff we've talked about and known about, and this is kind of standard, like you kind of wait and you do it all at once. But with that comes the idea of a lot of this stuff we've spent a great amount of time talking about in the last couple of weeks. So good to have it all official. It is a busy day around the league. Business is happening. Silly season is here, and some actual business is taking place. In fact, we kicked it off here within the last hour, reportedly releasing offensive tackle Cornelius Lucas per sources. Jeremy Fowler with the reporting on that. Move saves the Browns around $2 million in cap space. Any surprise there for you?
No, at all.
Yeah.
Not one little bit of surprise. Cornelius Lucas basically was benched after starting the season, and at the point when he was benched, he had been leading the NFL in sacks and pressures allowed to the point where he had numbers 2 and 3 added up didn't equal his pressures allowed.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really see him again the rest of the year. So no, not a surprise at all there.
Around the league, a lot going on. Today is the 4 p.m. deadline for teams to designate franchise or transition tags, so that's in 45 minutes. Around the league, that is happening, including here within the last couple of minutes. The Colts placing a transition tag on quarterback Daniel Jones, so he will be transition tagged with the Indianapolis Colts. Z, do you have a quick definition of transition tag and what that means?
Sure. So the NFL has multiple tags that you can apply. And so what those are the franchise tag, there's an exclusive franchise tag, there's a non-exclusive franchise tag, and then there is the transition tag. And I'm trying to pull it up right here. But with the franchise tag, this is how it goes. There's the exclusive franchise tag. A player who receives the exclusive franchise tag cannot negotiate with other teams. Player receives a 1-year deal for the greater of A, the average of the 5 largest players at his position at the conclusion of the restricted free agent signing period of the current league year, or the amount of the non-exclusive franchise tag. The non-exclusive tag is that player is free to negotiate with other teams. They receive a 1-year deal with their salary set at A, the cap percentage average for his position, or 120% of his prior year's salary. Teams that use the non-exclusive hold the first right of refusal. Should a player sign an offer sheet with another team, the player's previous team has 5 days to match the offer sheet. Should it decide not to, the player's original team shall be entitled to draft choice compensation equivalent to 2 first-round picks. So I know Breece Hall got tagged. He was given the non-exclusive. Absolutely nobody is signing him to an offer sheet that could cost them 2 first-round picks.
No.
So that's not happening.
Now, Jones
so then
is interesting, though. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The transition tag.
There you go.
Is the player who receives the transition tag is free to negotiate with other teams. Player receives a 1-year deal for the greater of the cap percentage average of the top 10 greatest per year salaries at the player's position, or 120% of his own per year salary. Should such a player sign an offer sheet with a new team, his former team has 5 days to match. The transition tag is a cheaper alternative to the franchise tag. However, should his former team decide to not match, there is no draft pick compensation in the transition tag. If a transition tag player has not signed an offer sheet with a new team by July 22nd, he can only negotiate and sign with his prior team that season.
Yeah, so that is the risk that the Colts are doing with Jones. Is that
so they transition tagged him.
They transition tagged him, so he can negotiate with other teams if he signs an offer sheet elsewhere. The Colts have 5 days to match. If the original team declines to match, then the player leaves, and there's no draft pick compensation.
The other big thing is you can only, if you're a team, you can only tag one player. Mm-hmm. So by tagging Jones, they did not tag free agent to be wide receiver Alec Pierce,
who they think they can get a deal done with. Now, the crazy thing about that, and I remember we loved Alec Pierce coming out of Cincinnati, size, speed, all of it, and he has been incredibly productive for them to a point.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about to pay the guy, the average of the 5 best receivers in the league, now he's coming off of a career high, right? 1,003 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0-4, 8, 24, and 7. Now, what he's done is basically been the best vertical receiver in the NFL. 2 years ago, led the NFL 22.3 yards a catch. Last year, led the NFL 21.3 yards per catch. What's crazy is he has 1,827 yards the last 2 years, and he only has that on 84 catches. He has 84 catches in the last 2 seasons. He's never had 50 catches in a season. This is his first 1,000-yard season. And those yards per, target, 12, that's astronomical, incredibly efficient. I don't know how he can maintain that yards per catch or those yards per target, but if he does, and you all of a sudden you extrapolate that and you say, oh, let's give this guy, what would it look like if we gave him 120 targets? Well, if you gave him 120 targets at 12 yards a target, you're talking about a 1,400-yard receiver.
Right.
Who we got? What do you got working out there?
I was just going to
people walk.
Tarv. I was going to show Tarv that you're here.
Tarv.
He's so excited. He was looking for you, and I was trying to explain where you were, and I thought I should just show my phone so you could see on the Zoom where you are.
Yeah, you could see me, Tarv.
Yeah, they could see it.
But
the great Tarv.
You're not paying Alec Pierce the average of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL.
No way.
He has not produced. So that's why he's not gotten tagged. Now, I'm actually a little bit more surprised. With Daniel Jones, what they're saying is that's fine. We don't know really what the market is for you coming off of this injury. Go figure out what the market is, and, we're likely to match it. Now, non-exclusive meant that he probably wouldn't get an offer. So I'm kind of surprised if they can only do one tag, why they didn't just non-exclusive tag him. Because nobody's given up 2 1s for him. There just aren't.
He's coming off of he tore his Achilles in week 15.
Right. So the difference of what they're doing is it allows them to pay him a top 10 quarterback salary as opposed to a top 5, which is probably a significant dollar savings.
It's a savings of $6 million.
$6 million.
Yeah, $37 million. He would get 37 as opposed to 43, I believe.
So that's it. That's why. That's it.
I'm just curious the last time this happened at quarterback.
Like what's crazy is too, and while you look at that is you think about Danny Dimes, right?
Before this, the transition tag was rarely used on quarterbacks, with the last instance being, you guessed it, Jeffrey George, Atlanta Falcons, 1996. That is the last time the transition tag was used on a quarterback, according to the AI overlords.
I like that. I like that very much. What's crazy about Danny Dimes is this is a guy who, his biggest contract, signed with the Giants 4 years, 160. Last year, as a free agent, signed a 1 year, $14 million deal. And now he's going to be at a minimum 37. That also means for anybody to go and make an offer to him, they have to be willing to give him more than 37, 8, 33, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think they think it's going to keep him. They're saving the $6 million. I think they know that. I think they just feel like nobody's paying him more than that anyway. I almost think it's kind of it feels like a pretty big number to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
To give Danny Dimes. And again, he was very good at the beginning of last year. But if you go back to last season and you look at kind of how things went for him, it started off really, really well. And then they lost 4 of his last 5 starts.
That's funny. I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Or 3 of his last 4 full starts. So they start off, they go win, win, win. The first loss was to the Rams, 27-20 in a game he threw 2 picks. Then, and to be fair, Adonai Mitchell, I'm pretty sure it was Adonai Mitchell, caught one down the left sideline and dropped it as he went into the end zone and didn't get the touchdown. Then they beat Vegas. Then they beat Arizona. Then they beat the Chargers. Then they beat Tennessee. So through 8 games, he's 7-1. Then comes the Pittsburgh game where he throws 3 picks and loses 2 fumbles, so turns it over 5 times. They lose. They beat Atlanta in OT, but in that one he throws a pick and loses a fumble. At the beginning of the year, he had not lost a fumble to this point, and he had thrown 3 picks total prior to that game. Then he throws 3 there, 1 in Atlanta. They lose to Kansas City 23-20. Played a pretty clean game there. And then they lose to Houston 16-20. And again, played a fairly clean game in that one as well. But
yeah, I'm with you. And
he's
coming off of that injury, he's not going to be there at the start of the year. So you're going to have to do something else at the beginning of the year. So it's another one of those teams. That's a big one there. Because they were really good everywhere else. I mean, they got everything else on that roster has been good for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Alec Pierce, that's the thing with the transition tag. Yes, he's a very good player, but and maybe right, you could make the case right now he's the best vertical threat in the NFL. You can make the case. I don't know that defensive coordinators will look at it that way, but at least you can make the case. And still, though, I don't think you're paying him top 5 receiver money in the NFL. I just don't think you are.
No. Couple other things around the league. No tag for the Bengals on Trey Hendrickson, so he is an outright free agent, so he will walk and they will get nothing in return for that. They could have solved that last year and they wouldn't be in this spot.
My guess is they'll still get, depending on what they do in their free agent purchases, if for example, if Trey Hendrickson's going to sign a mega deal somewhere, if they don't sign a mega deal free agent, they'll still get a 3rd-round compensatory pick for him.
Yeah, so there's your get back on that. And maybe they felt like they couldn't get more than that via trade for him. I don't think that's true, but
clearly
they obviously didn't feel that way. The Seattle Seahawks will not franchise running back and Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker, so no franchise tag for him. He will be an unrestricted free agent as well, and coming off of that, very good. The Jets did franchise tag running back Breece Hall. $14.2 million is the number on that. And then in the last half hour, really surprising out of Chicago, the Bears Pro Bowl center Drew Dahlman has informed the team that he's retiring from the NFL at age 27. Dahlman left Stanford in 2001 after 4 seasons in Atlanta, 1 in Chicago, made the sudden and surprising decision to retire at 27.
Wow. That's a big loss, obviously, for them. One of the things they were able to do is really fortify that offensive line.
Yeah.
And he had been a very good player for them. So that is a big surprise, and that puts a big, big hole for them in the middle of that offensive line and for Caleb Williams. Back to Kenneth Walker real quick. One of the things we had heard at the Combine and through some of our good friends and colleagues is that Houston was thought to be very much in the Kenneth Walker sweepstakes. I would say the trade that they made to get David Montgomery would probably neutralize that, as they would go with a Woody Marks, David Montgomery combo. Then so I would right now. Now they could draft Jeremiah Love, but the beauty about free agency, it comes before the draft. I think Kenneth Walker's in play for Kansas City.
Oh my gosh, dude, they could set themselves up if they get him, and then they're sitting because they're picking what 9.
It's 8 or 9, yeah.
I mean, they're sitting there 8 or I think it's 9. You're sitting there at 9, and now all of a sudden you're getting the number. You're going to get a blue chip. And there's all talk that Tyreek Hill's going back there. Like they could this. It was a rough year for them. It's rare. Nobody wants them getting better quickly, but the way they're set up, they could get very, very dangerous very quickly.
Yep. Agreed. Well, I mean, it's the first year their season didn't end in the AFC Championship game of the Super Bowl since Pat Mahomes has been the starter. So
not bad.
I'm pretty sure they have the ability to get back there pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yes, they do. We also, and there will be more of this. We'll keep you updated on this in the next half hour as you have basically 34 minutes from now to get all of this stuff done. We now have 9 international games slated for this season. All home teams have been determined. We are not one of the home teams. The Falcons are the host team for this year's game in Spain. So that was released today as well, that the Falcons will be heading to Spain. So Kev is going to head to Madrid, right? This is the Bernabeu they're playing in?
It is. That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, that's
pretty cool.
The history of that place is pretty ridiculous. So, and the technology on the renovation is defies logic. What they
unbelievable
did, with that. 2 potential overseas offerings for us in London versus Jacksonville or Paris versus the Saints would be your 2 options.
Paris, we've heard a lot of rumors about it.
A lot of rumors.
So I would certainly like that to be the case. So we'll see. That would be.
Can I ask
awesome.
you a question?
Please.
Do you think you've seen the Ratatouille, right?
Love that movie.
Is that – I mean, this is a bold take on a Tuesday. Is that the best? That's Disney, right? Pretty sure it is.
I think it's a Disney.
Is it a Mount Rushmore Disney animated film? I'm not saying best because there's too many greats. I mean, the original Jungle Book is my all-time favorite.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God, dude. Baloo the Bear. King Louie? Come on.
I like the old
Robin
Hood.
The old Robin Hoods would be on my list, too. Those are my 2 favorite. Those 2.
The
old Robin Hood, I will say, it takes a while to get going.
But then
it's a sprint. It takes a little while to get going, but then it's a sprint. So those 2 would both be on mine. Original Robin Hood, original Jungle Book.
I love Cars and Cars 2. I think Cars 2 is incredible.
Cars 2 are they in Europe?
Yep.
With all the spies and all that?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Finn McMissile. I mean, you got Michael Caine doing voice work in a Disney cartoon movie.
Yep. A lot of people would go Lion King. A lot of people might go Aladdin.
Toy Story.
I think Ratatouille is on it for me. I think it's one of the 4.
Tangled. So I had young Luca watch Ratatouille. It's incredible. The premise of it is so outrageously far-fetched, but
well, of course,
it's an absolute delight. Ratatouille. It is. It's probably one of just the best, like, pure movie from a movie standpoint. Watching it,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I do.
It's not necessarily. It's not like. It also doesn't have, and maybe I'm misremembering, but it does. Oh, Frozen would be another one that's probably on a lot of people's list.
Not on mine.
Moana. Yeah. It doesn't have just the brutal sadness and devastation of tragedy that some of the other ones have. At least I don't recall.
I had to explain that to the boys when they were little, and we would watch The Fox and the Hound.
Oh
my God,
that's another great one. Though.
Bambi. Oh my God! The devastation is unbelievable.
Right out of the gate,
you just get hit over the head with devastation. The newer Disney ones don't have that. They don't have this tremendous heartache that that happens right away. And those other ones have
Tangled's good. Yeah, Tangled, I guess the heartache is that a young girl has 18 years of her life robbed by evil Mother Gothel. But it has a very happy ending, and nobody is permanently perished.
Yeah.
It's in Frozen. They just go out to sea. Her parents are going out on a boat. It's sad music, big waves. Yeah, sorry, they're never coming back. Okay. All right.
That's right.
Mufasa. I mean, are you kidding me? Mufasa.
That's
That's a brutal one.
That's brutal.
Oh, by
man.
his own brother?
Yeah. Lion King would probably make my Rushmore too, I think.
Lion King's great, but there's a lot of sadness in Lion King too.
There's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, there's some good ones. We just Ratatouille's on. Bootsy still loves it.
Great.
The boys still love it. It really is awesome. We just
Did
watched
your
it the
boys
last
love
couple of
Cars?
days, and when you mentioned they did, yeah, we were all Lightning McQueen. Remember, Bootsy was Lightning McQueen for Halloween once. He had the full outfit and all of that. Yeah, they loved that. Yeah. And actually, Planes wasn't bad too.
Planes was very nice.
Planes, Fire and Rescue. That was fun too. Yeah. Very similar to Cars, just rather than. It's kind of like what they did with Top Gun and Days of Thunder.
Except that it was
same but different.
Right. They went from planes to cars.
That's it.
Instead of cars to planes.
They just did it opposite. It's all this.
Yeah.
So they like that as well. That was another one that was good. But yeah, I think you mentioned France and you mentioned Paris, and I just had watched Ratatouille like 2 days ago.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
really, you watched a couple. I've watched it. I'd say within the last 2 weeks we watched it. It's great.
Yeah, I think
really
it was. It might have been Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night. Like it was on, and so we watched it again.
That rat's up there yanking his hair, and this guy turns into the best chef in the world.
Funny story. We're in a suburb of Chicago, northern suburb of Chicago, eating for lacrosse 2 summers ago, and the restaurant we were at had Ratatouille on the menu. So NBC's like, I'm getting it. I'm getting Ratatouille.
Do it.
Well, he goes, they make it look so good on Ratatouille. I go, well, it's cut up veggies.
Yeah, it's
layered with. Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily as dramatic as you're thinking from the movie, buddy. So it was not a great experience for him. He ended up having to. I think he either ordered something else or tried eating my wife's meal. I can't remember, one or the other. I can't remember, but I remember him ordering at the restaurant.
Yeah, like the movie wasn't named that because that's the best dish. It was because the word rat's in it.
Well, of course, but you get the double entendre of that's what you make, and the guy, because it's his childhood food, away you go.
Yeah.
The
critic.
So you get both. The critic, yeah. Here's what it is. Have you ever had it?
I think so. Yeah, isn't it it's like a tomato based?
Yeah.
Kind of like soup.
No, it's
stew?
It's layered, thinly sliced layers of. It is zucchini, yellow summer squash, eggplant, Roma tomatoes, and tomato puree. So you take the zucchini, the squash, the eggplant, and the Roma tomatoes, and you slice them thin, and then you just layer them around, and then it's a tomato sauce
like a tomato
underneath.
broth. Yeah.
Is kind of the idea of it. That's the way that it looks. So yeah, it's a very simple
where
thing.
the G's a P in there.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had I don't know that I've ever. I definitely have eaten at French restaurants, but I haven't eaten at them enough that I could say I've tried a bunch of French cuisine that's specifically French.
Okay.
I just don't have that. It's a hole in the resume. I just haven't eaten at a lot of. I've not been to France, and I have not eaten a lot of French restaurants in my life.
There's some good ones in the area here.
I don't know one. I don't know them. I'm not I wasn't looking either. But I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. I just haven't eaten at them. So
Crew Uncorked is a fine restaurant. That is fine dining. Very, very, very good food. And then isn't the one down Universe Circle like La Albatross?
Oh yeah. That I've heard of that one.
Yeah.
That one's amazing. My daughter says that's the closest to 100% French cuisine.
Oh, that's right.
Chez Francois and Vermilion, one of my favorites.
Chez Francois.
Like Buddy's best friend would have all the French information I need.
She would.
Buddy Garrity's best friend would
Everything.
handle all of that.
Yeah.
She'd handle all of it. Yeah, so there you go. All right. We're going to continue our position reviews. We are in the wide receiver room. We will do that coming up next. We're off and running on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Zach Bryan is bringing his With Heaven On World Tour to Huntington Bank Field Saturday, May 9th. Hear all his classic. Witness his new album live in Cleveland. And don't miss out. Get your tickets now by visiting huntingtonbankfield.com/Zach Bryan. Continuing our position reviews in the wide receiver room. Weapons, weapons, weapons. Dr. Z.
So this is a room that we know is a top priority for the Cleveland Browns, and as it should be. And it's a room that could be attacked in trade, in free agency, in the draft, or maybe even, not probably all of the above, but two of the three. I could see two people being brought into this room. And it could be two rookies. It could be a rookie and a veteran from a trade. It could be a rookie and a veteran that we sign in free agency. And there are certain people out there that I'm interested in that I believe are free agents. And we'll see, kind of how this all shakes out. But we'll get into that as we start to go and kind of our look ahead as we get towards free agency and maybe throw some names out there, bandy some names about. Jerry Jeudy, obviously, coming off of a year where he was a Pro Bowler, basically cuts his production in half, almost literally. 50 catches, 602 yards that he had this season. And when you go and you look at what Jerry Jeudy had done the year before that, you say to yourself, man, that is quite a precipitous decline from what we were expecting, what we had. The year before was 90 catches, 1229 and 4, drops to 50, 602 and 2. Lowest yards per catch of his entire career, lowest success rate of his entire career, second lowest catch rate of his entire career, the lowest being his rookie season at 46%. This year was 47. The last 4 years prior were 68, 67, 62, 62. Yards per target, lowest of his career by a mile, 5.7. Had never been below 7.6. The 4 years prior, again, 8.3, 9.7, 8.7, 8.5. When you're in those 8.5, 8.7, 9 range that he was in for those 4 years, that's elite stuff. Jerry Jeudy's going to get back there. The Browns are very confident that he's going to get back there. And you want to get him to be, maybe your 1A, if you can get a true one, or you can have kind of co-ones, that's fine. That'd be great. But Jerry Jeudy, they're counting on him bigly to be the guy for the Cleveland Browns at wide receiver, along with whomever they bring in. And I believe that they're going to bring in somebody that they think has the ability to be, a 1,000-yard receiver. Along with him, along with Jerry Jeudy, the Browns are returning Isaiah Bond. That's the guy of the other returners that I'm the most excited about. Isaiah Bond last year for the Browns led the team in yards per catch at 18.8. Again, 18.8, led the Browns in yards per target at 7.7.
Yep.
So he's got to get more opportunity, obviously, right? And, there were the catch rate, the success rate, 31.8%, the catch rate, 40.9. Those are both the lowest on the team. So you think about the fact that if we can get that kind of stuff figured out, and now he also had a very high percentage of uncatchable targets thrown to him. It wasn't like that he was dropping a lot of balls. He's got real speed. He's got the ability to get behind defenses. Bottom line, he has the ability to get behind defenses. And when you can get behind defenses, you have a chance to do something very special, right? That's where you can become an elite receiver. So I really think that when you look at him, this is a guy that as a role player should be very good for the Cleveland Browns this season. And in those 11 personnel sets, you have a guy who has an opportunity to make a lot of plays. 5 catches on targets of more than 20 yards in the air, 5 of them, 5 catches, and those went for 198 yards.
Yep.
5 catches for 198 yards. So when you look at him being targeted down the field, he was kind of incredible. We need more of that, and we need somebody who can get him the football completely. When you look at his receiving grades at Pro Football Focus, he was a blue chipper on 20 yards in the air and medium 10 to 19. So anything over 10 yards in the air, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL that they charted in terms of his grade. So we're talking a real vertical threat. In terms of his drops, he had 1 drop all year. That's it. Jeez. 1 drop all year, and that came on a screen behind the line of scrimmage. Didn't drop anything down the field. Did not have a ton of catchable targets, which is, again, not his fault, but that's something that needs to be, that's on the quarterbacks, right? Give him opportunities to make plays. When you only have one drop and your catch rate is what it is, that tells you that the vast majority of passes Isaiah Bond saw last year were uncatchable.
Yeah.
One drop. Again, one drop.
He's one, too, like for fans, if you're just watching on TV, you're probably saying, well, I don't understand what's special here because I just don't see it enough. But if you watch all 22 or you go to the games, buddy, how many times a game is he behind the defense?
At least once every single game.
It happens at least once a game. At least, yeah. Oftentimes multiple times, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, that's pretty good. It doesn't. Some people never get behind the defense, and he does it every single week.
There are certain players, though, that like because the production doesn't match what we're talking about here. Like if you didn't watch all 22, or if you didn't go to every game, you're not noticing it.
For sure, but I mean, when a guy who averages 19 yards catch, like that should pop. That should get your attention.
For sure. I'm just saying that for the average fan who just watches the majority of games on TV, they might not understand what we're talking about or understand the hype about him. But I'm telling you, it's all there.
Oh yeah. It's 100%. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. You're right. It is all there, and the hype. Yeah, because unfortunately, we were not a consistently good passing attack.
No.
I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. The guy that you really would have wanted Isaiah Bond to play the most with was when he wasn't really ready to play was, obviously I had a lot of success with Shedeur late because Shedeur throws good deep ball, but he never really played with Flacco at the point where he was fully integrated and assimilated into the offense and that he could be somebody that you were, really counting on. But as the season went on, when he started to get some opportunities, he made some nice plays. He had the 2 catches for 89 yards against the Bears. He had 2 for 58 against the Raiders. Now, Isaiah Bond didn't really see, he had 1 game all year with more than 6 targets on the whole season. That's it. That's it. And really when Dylan Gabriel was in there, he struggled mightily when Dylan Gabriel was in there. Mightily.
Yeah.
But Shedeur is able to get him the ball down the field, and, hopefully we can see more of that this season. But I think that Isaiah Bond has a chance in 11 personnel to be your third receiver and be a difference maker. I don't think his numbers are going to be massive, but kind of in the way that I'll say when he was in New Orleans more than when he got to Seattle. The way Rashid Shaheed made plays down there, where he was, 700-yard receiver, 16 yards a catch, 5 touchdowns, just made some big plays down the field. That's who I think we have an opportunity to have with Isaiah Bond. So those two, very good. Cedric Tillman, last year, down year, again, just battling injuries. He shows you flashes where you feel like, man, this guy really could be on the cusp. He just has not been able to be consistent or to stay healthy consistently in his career. 14 games as a rookie, 11 games last year, 11 games, in 24, 13 last year. Never reached 30 catches in a season, has not reached 350 yards in a season. Size, speed, all of it's there. Again, you see good things. It just has not manifested itself all the way. Now, as your fourth receiver, you feel pretty good about him. Malachi Corley is a guy who I think has an opportunity to stay here. I thought he played pretty well, and in fact, one of our best offensive plays once he got more involved was him running the ball. Crazy part is he caught 11 passes for 79 yards. He ran 13 times for 127, almost 10 yards a carry as we got him involved in jet sweeps, end arounds, just getting him the ball out in space, and he was very productive with that. So I like Malachi Corley as kind of like the gimmick guy that you got. You also had, Gage Larvidan, Jamari Thrash, who certainly did not play well last year. Larvidan, solid punt return. He had a 44-yarder at one point, played his way onto the team as an undrafted. But you need an upgrade right here. Like if you went into it with, Judy and Carnell Tate, or we're seeing now, drafts where we go at 24 and we take the kid from Indiana, Omar Cooper.
Yeah, he's a nice player.
Nice, if it's Judy and Tate or Cooper or Boston or any one of these guys, Isaiah Bond and, at the top, Tillman 4, Corley's kind of the guy who's your gimmick guy is 5. Okay, all right, we're getting there. I still think I'd love to me the trade for Marvin Harrison. That is absolutely the way that I want to go if that's a real thing that's feasible.
If we can do it,
if we can do it. Otherwise, we got to hit. We got to hit on this. Whoever we take in the first round at wide receiver, it's got to be a hit.
Yeah, I think you need whether it's Marv, who's off to a slow start to his NFL career, or Carnell Tate at 6. You need, and they just happen to be Buckeyes, but Ohio State does a good job of putting out receivers. That's worked for the most part. So to me, like when I look at this is something you and I have talked about only for 2 straight years. Like you need to have somebody out there that teams are fearful of. What do we do with them? That man, we're gonna have to double this guy a little bit. Like to me, that this is number one primary.
That's my number one priority.
It's number one. Yeah. It's the opportunity, and I think you have to be really aggressive. If it's at 6, heck, I wouldn't mind acquiring. I was looking at the free agent list of wide receivers. I wouldn't mind signing one and drafting one at 6. Like I think all of those things make sense. Like you need a massive upgrade in terms of, we got to deal with the Browns. Here's the people we got to deal with. Right now, we just don't have enough of it.
I'm going to throw out a name, and
I got my pen.
Do you have like a list of free agent wide receivers in front of you?
I have a top 101 NFL list. Overall players. I don't have a wide receiver specific.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find one quickly here. Spot Track would probably have one. Let me get there.
All right, I'm going to give you a guy that I would like to see us sign.
Sure.
And it gives you kind of like another bite at the apple from just a vertical guy, and that is Tyquan Thornton.
Okay.
I liked him with Kansas City last year. He averaged 23 yards a catch last year. He's 6'2". He is a former, I want to say, second-round pick of the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull this up.
Okay.
He's a free agent. Yeah, he was a second-round pick of the Patriots in 2022. 6'2", and he can run. And he did nothing with the Patriots. Last year with Mahomes, 19 catches, 438 yards, 3 touchdowns, 23.1 a catch. I don't think he will be expensive, but I think he brings something to your team that all of a sudden, let's say you go out there and certain looks like, let's say in the draft we get a tight end that we really like.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to go out there in a 12 personnel look at one point, where we don't have Judy or we don't have, let's call it a Cardell Tate out there, and people say, well, what are you doing? And all of a sudden you have Bond on one side and Tyquan Thornton on the other, and the ability to take the top off of the defense would be vast. I like him. He is not the number one. I don't think you're finding your number one guy in free agency.
You're not.
But he, to me, is somebody that could play a valuable role for this football team as a space creator, much like Bond, a little bit bigger at 6'2". And then you saw him make – and the funny thing was, remember we were talking about how bad Mahomes was at times last year. Tyquan Thornton's another guy you put on the tape. He could have had 600 yards.
Yeah.
There are a few times where Mahomes underthrew him when he was deep. So he's somebody that I like, that I feel like could be cheap and give you an elite skill or an elite trait that I would be interested in.
Just 25 years of age. According to Spot Track, his anticipated salary this year, $2.8.
Oh, my God. Then in an instant.
Yeah,
Kansas City might not let him go at that.
Yeah, they might not at that standpoint. So in terms of market value, Spot Track does this thing where they assign a market value to a player. So Juwan Jennings is their number one free agent in terms of market value at 22.6. Then Alec Pierce, then Wan'Dale Robinson, 17.6. Debo, Tyreek, Rashid Shaheed, who you mentioned, Mike Evans, Romeo Dobbs, Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk, Calvin Austin, Jalen Naylor, Jalen Tolbert, Treylon Burks, Khalif Raymond, Kendrick Bourne, Sterling Shepard, Nick Westbrook, and so on and so on.
What do they have Romeo Doubs at?
They have Doubs is at 12.
He's an interesting one to me. I actually like his game a lot. I think that he would make a lot of sense. I think he's a starting receiver in this league.
Yep.
6'2", 200 pounds, 59 for 674, 46 for 601, 55, 724. He's got 21 touchdowns in 4 seasons, averaged over 600 yards a season, 8 yards a target, 8.3, 8.5 the last 2 years. I think he's undervalued at that level. I think he's somebody that if he was in a system where he got to play a higher percentage of the snaps, it's just not the way that Green Bay did it.
Yep.
They had so many different receivers that they would rotate through. Now, Doubs has 13 games, 17 games, 13 games, 16 games. So, relatively speaking, healthy, I would say. But they move so many people around. He was actually the Packers' leading receiver last year when you factor into the postseason as well.
He was
led the team in targets, led the team in catches.
I'm always bitter about him and Sky Moore. Because those were the guru came on and gave me those two guys, and I think I picked them both and they
Sky Moore was a zero.
He was a nothing.
Less than
yeah.
zero.
And the year I think I
Dubs
did Dubs, I
produced
think he struggled maybe the 1 year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he certainly has all of the things that you would want in that situation. So there are some names out there to buttress it, but probably if you're looking for a true one, it's going to have to be drafted at 6 or it's going to have to be traded for. That's the
Agreed.
That's
yes.
the option.
That's right. So. Yeah, no, we're talking about roles that, like, to me, the only people in our wide receiver room whose spots are guaranteed on this roster next year, in my world, would be Judy and Isaiah Bond. Strong likelihood Tillman, right?
Yeah.
But that's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's not.
And I think that I don't think all three. Tillman, I want to say yes, but I don't think it's like a lock. If all of a sudden you could replace Tillman with Romeo Dubs, I think you would.
Yeah. I think this room
or Dobbs.
Yeah, so it'll just now we'll see what happens. Free agency, trades, all of that stuff the next couple of weeks. But as we sit here right now, that is something that is absolutely required. We're going to get some behind enemy lines on our new offensive tackle, Titus Howard. When we talked about the Houston Texans, we like to do so with our buddy John McClain, the great general, going to join us at the top of the hour. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, it's pretty simple around here. When you want to talk about the Houston operation and you want to talk about the NFL, there's only one man who you want on the line, and we are lucky enough that he's a great friend of the program. He is the general. He's John McClain. He joins us via the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline. It's brought to you by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. John, it is so great to talk to you, sir. We acquired a player that I'm guessing you're quite familiar with, offensive tackle Titus Howard. What did you make of that move, and what can you tell us about him?
Well, first of all, I think in the last couple of years, Titus has played better at left guard than right tackle, and they've had to move him around. You know, he came here as a right tackle, first-round pick in 2019. He was the senior position player on the team. Only kicker Kaimi Fairbairn's been here longer than him. And Titus never complained about any moves. Last year he also had to play right guard, and I thought they did him an injustice by moving him around because of injuries and ineptness, but he never complained about it. And he, no matter where he was always serviceable. And some thought his best position is right tackle, and some of us thought left guard. In 2024, he had to play left guard a lot, and I thought it was his best season. But Nick Caserio, the general manager, and Coach D'Amico Ryans, they've done a great job of rebuilding this team, thanks to the Browns, of course. And one of the problems is they can't put together offensive linemen. They've been terrible at getting offensive linemen. Now, Titus was here before they got here. Bill O'Brien was really excited about getting him in 2019. That's the guy he told me off the record he wanted. But they have done a terrible job. At the Combine, Nick Caserio talked about the criticism of the offensive line. And he said, I thought it played better. I must have been watching different tape. Well, when he got home, he watched the tape, and he thought the same thing we did. So he trades it, Titus. His right side of his line's free agents. They could have 3 new starters, should have 3 new starters. But it's amazing. It's such a disservice to C.J. Stroud. No running game to speak of because Joe Mixon missed the season. And they didn't help Stroud at all. Now maybe they will. We're guessing with 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, 2 of them will be offensive linemen.
John, when you go back with a couple connections here, Titus obviously coming over, and then George Warhop, who has been around the league for a very, very long time, was there in 2022 with Titus. So you'd have to assume that he was a fan of his. What do you remember about George Warhop's 1 year there with the Texans?
I don't remember much about it. He came in with a good reputation. They were so bad at that time, one of the worst teams in the league. It's like everybody was associated with their total ineptness, and Warhop got fired after that one season. So really it was all guilt by association for everybody. But I know before he came, he had a much better reputation. And I don't think 1 year on a bad team should hurt a guy, and obviously it hasn't because he's still working.
John, I was thinking about this. We saw, and by the way, for just joining us, and I don't know that we've mentioned this yet, Kyler Murray is informed that he's going to be cut by the Arizona Cardinals once that can happen as well, and so that adds to the quarterback conversation. But I was thinking about this notion of you draft a quarterback high, but then you have to make sure that they have a support group. The Texans have hit twice on quarterback. You cannot argue that they hit on Deshaun Watson. He was incredible when he was down there. Obviously, injuries and other things have factored into what happened since. There was no question that C.J. Stroud crushed it, John, in his rookie season, and then we've seen from the outside looking in a little bit of regression. As you've watched both of those two up close and personal, what did you learn about what it takes to bring a quarterback along the right way, and what are some things that other teams should maybe apply and learn from those two processes?
Well, first of all, Stroud's regression that people talk about around the league, and I doubt those people have watched hardly any games of the Texans. 2 years ago, his second year, he lost his best receiver, Nico Collins, for 5 games, lost Tank Dell, his second best receiver, for half the season. And then Stephon Diggs was doing really well, and he went down for the last 9 games. And he lost his tight end, Dalton Schultz, who had to play hurt, and then people wondered why he wasn't the same quarterback. Well, his offensive line was incompetent. They used 9 different starters because of injuries and ineptness. This year they used 11 because of injuries and ineptness. And yet everybody wants to blame Stroud. Plus, he didn't have Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had a terrific year in his one healthy season in 2024. And I'm right now working on a series of tweets and getting ready for my talk shows here comparing Mixon with David Montgomery and D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio's love of older running backs, which I can't figure, but that's what they do. And so the key is, and this is what I do a weekly show in Las Vegas, and I tell them, if you're going to draft Fernando Mendoza, and if they don't work on the offense in the draft and free agency, it's criminal. You can fill in on the defense, but you got to work on the offense. You got to do what the Bears did. They did a great job last year, and they actually began the year before with what they put around Caleb Williams, and they knew they were going to get that first pick. And so I thought they were the standard bearer for what you do. And yes, of course you want to work on your defense. But boy, and this, I do a weekly show in Tennessee, in Nashville, and I tell them the same thing. If Robert Saleh comes in there and has a chance at Jeremiah Love and goes for a pass rusher, that's fine. But you got to remember, if you don't help the quarterback, if you don't help Cam Ward as the first overall pick, you're just spinning your wheels. Take Love. I've seen 2 turnarounds here. Earl Campbell, 1978, the Oilers traded up, got the first pick, got the Heisman Trophy winner from Texas, and he took them to the playoffs 3 years in a row, 2 AFC championships games. Arian Foster here. When Arian Foster was inserted as the starting back, he became the best in franchise history. They beat Peyton Manning in Indy for the first time, then beat him again, and he made all the difference. So you've got to put the weapons around them, and they better start building now because, you know, everybody's talking about next year's draft being great. This time last year, all these draft experts were talking about Nussmeier and Aller and Lenora Sellers could be the first overall pick, and they were going crazy over those guys. Now they don't point that out.
No, they don't.
And I think it's terrible today. These people that go, well, Mendoza, I wouldn't put him up there. And when they list several quarterbacks, and I'm like, you're talking about the quarterback now. What was your evaluation of Josh Allen back when everybody said he would never be accurate? Mm-hmm. That he went to a junior college before he went to Wyoming. People didn't predict he was going to be a superstar, but you don't see that either, which is one of the reasons I go back and read those. I keep up with what the evaluations were back then. And with the Browns, they got to, you know, if you don't get offensive linemen, and I think Titus will start from day one, he'll play there several years, and he won't be great, but he'll be good. And he's a great teammate, good in the locker room. Media likes him. He's always available, and he will hopefully help them develop any other young guys they bring in there.
Yeah, we need him to do that, and we're all about. You're talking about the offense. We're all about that. I love what you're talking about. That nobody keeps receipts anymore. Of course, a man of your stature, you certainly do. But yeah, that's every year. Oh, next year's going to be great. Everything's so loaded next year. When you look at kind of the division that the Texans are in right now, and you look at the fact, you know, the Texans defense was so good last year, and you're right, you got to get them weapons. You score the football, and you're going to be just fine there. But you know, what did you make of the Colts move today with Danny Dimes, and then what's kind of your take on where things are down in Jacksonville?
First of all, let me say one more thing about the Browns. The Browns have the best defensive player in the NFL. What's it done for them? They're one of the all-time great pass rushers. What's it done for him? It's done for him, and but that's why you've got to get offense. You have to get the quarterback. They thought they had the quarterback in Watson. I don't feel sorry for the Browns. I certainly don't feel sorry for Deshaun Watson because I'm still mad at him because of what he did that got him traded when in 2020 he was fantastic in every way. And he hadn't been anything close to that since that 2020 season. As far as there was a lot of speculation yesterday in the national media about using that transition tag. He's not worth the franchise tag. He's injured, coming off an injury. He should get beat back to where he was before. When he was 8-2, people are talking about him as the MVP. So you get the top 10 instead of the top 5, and that's about what he's worth. And if he earns that money, the Colts will turn around and do what's right, and they will turn around and give him a new deal, just like the Bucs did for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's the thing that's happened, isn't it, John? I mean, that was something we heard at the Combine consistently. Like, everyone wants to pull a Darnold. Everybody wants to pull a Mayfield. In both of those instances, they went to quarterback finishing school with going to San Francisco, going to Minnesota in the case of Darnold, going to Los Angeles in the case of Bake, and kind of figured out how to be pro quarterbacks a little bit. And I think that was something that a lot of teams are chasing after, is these quarterbacks on second chances. And I think with Kyler Murray being cut, and he's from your neck of the woods, certainly, when you think about that, how would you assign a value or a worth to Kyler Murray?
Well, first of all, he would not have been the first overall pick if it wasn't for Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury wanted him. He convinced owner Michael Bidwell and general manager Steve Keim to take him first overall because he was his kind of quarterback. And so that doesn't mean he's Todd Monken's kind of quarterback. He's a great runner, but he's so much smaller than Lamar Jackson. And what worries me about Kyler Murray is the stories you've heard about his work ethic. And that's not good. And the fact that Monty Ossenfort, the GM, said he'd been in contact with him, and the media said, quoting sources, they have not been in contact with each other. And so if you're going to commit to Murray, you better do it on a one-year deal. Now, if I'm the Browns, and I know the players wouldn't want to hear this, I would stick with Shador. I'd play Dillon. Because next year, if you're in that top 5 or 6, if this next draft goes the way everybody thinks it will, with Arch Manning, Julian Sain, Dante Moore, and all those guys, then you got a chance to get a true franchise quarterback. If I'm the Browns, I'll stay away from Murray, and I go with what I got. And if it doesn't work out, you'll be in better position next year. And about the time the new stadium opens, then that quarterback will have had 2 or 3 years to get used to the NFL, and maybe happy days will be here again.
Music to our ears on the last part.
Yeah, we certainly would like them. Do you think this is going to be a busy trade period for the NFL once this new league year opens? We've already seen some deals happen. Obviously, the Texans involved in 2 of them already. Are you expecting more deals to happen?
I am. Nick Caserio always likes to trade. If they locked him in a closet, he would kill himself if he couldn't make any trades. He can't sit on his hands. He's got ants in his pants, so he's going to be making more. It might be draft day when he trades out of the first round, but I think so because like last year, there was all this speculation the Bengals were going to cut Joe Mixon, even though he was coming off a 12-touchdown season. They thought he'd run out of gas. So instead of having to bid for him as a free agent, Nick Caserio says, we'll give you a 7. So they go, oh, yeah, 7, we'll take it. And Mixon turned out to be a really good move for 2024. And I think teams are more likely to do that, to get veteran players who might be 1 year, 2 year. I like that. I like to see a lot of movement. And but, of course, nothing supplants the draft. But there's going to be a slew of free agent signings next week, and Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, and those guys, agents are going to be sending them stuff, and it's who can cut and paste the quickest.
What do you make of in terms of the trade that just happened? I know you alluded to it with Nick Caserio bringing in older running backs with David Montgomery, but the idea of a 1-2 punch with he and Woody Marks.
I was hoping that they would get they have a 28th pick in the first round. I was hoping they'd get a tackle. And with the pick, one of the picks they got from Washington for Laramie Tunsil, I think it's 4th in the second round. I was hoping for Jadarius Price. I was hoping I looked at him and his 6 yards of carry, and being a backup and dividing time with Jeremiah Love, who might be the best player in the draft. And I was hoping they'd get a young guy like that. But if they could get Montgomery to do what Mixon did in 2024, they would certainly be happy with it. Mixon was 28, was going to turn 29. Montgomery's 28, going to turn 29. And both of them scored a lot of touchdowns. In the last 3 years, Montgomery has rushed for 33 touchdowns.
Yep.
The Texans have rushed for 34. Show you how incompetent their blocking has been when it gets to the goal line. And that's with Joe Mixon having 11 rushing touchdowns in 2024. And so they're hoping maybe they finally get that right. Montgomery can be the missing link, but I still would like one of those young guys like Price.
You're the best, buddy. Thank you so much for your
Yes.
time and giving us a little bit of it today. Greatly appreciate you.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
There he goes. He is the General John McClain. He joins via the Twisted Tea hotline. Brought to you by Twisted Tea, hard iced tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted. Cleveland, the news of the day. Kyler Murray is going to be cut. A statement from him. We will get to all of that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And add more fun to your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Lots of news around the league. Daniel Jones, transition tagged in Indy. Trey Hendrickson will be a free agent. No tag for him down in Cincinnati. But the headline here in the last 20 minutes or so is the outright release, which is coming for former number 1 overall pick and the man with which one of the great combine stories he is the center of, as I find ourselves to get on the exact same step as him at Harry and Izzy's, right, I believe is what it was. We got that exact same step. Kyler Murray is going to be outrightly released by the Arizona Cardinals if they cannot make a deal. My guess is they won't, and so they'll release him. They'll eat a bunch of money. This is the Russell Wilson-Denver situation, is it not?
It's similar. I don't think it's quite as prohibitive. They'll probably designate him a post-June 1st cut, as they're able to do 2 of those and then spread out his dead money over 2 years. But what it really means is that Kyler Murray is going to be – so if he's cut post-June 1st, they will have dead money in $47 million this year, $7 million next year, and they will save $5 million against the cap this year, $34 million next year, $46 million in 2028 is what it says. This is according to overthecap.com. Whereas if he was cut pre-June 1st, it'd be $54 million dead this year, $7 million dead next year, and lose $2 million on the cap this year. So I think it'll be a post-June 1st designation. And then he's going to make still $52 million, or he's going to make $47 million from Arizona. He's not going to get that $5 million bonus that he was due, I think, on one of the days in the league year or something like that. And so he is going to be able to play. Money's not going to be the biggest factor for him in where he plays. And so he's going to have the opportunity to go and sign really where – provided that they're interested, if multiple teams, he will get to pick the team he wants to play for. It will not be about money.
No. And this is in the last, I don't know, it's about 25 minutes ago. Jonathan Jones on NFL on CBS, near the top of the list of Kyler's options at the Minnesota Vikings, considering their cap situation. A capable veteran at the veteran minimum 1.3 salary would be huge for Minnesota. I think Minnesota's at the top of everyone's list. Now, the division is really difficult. It's brutal. But you've got 2 elite weapons, maybe the best receiver in all of football. You got a great offensive mind as a head coach. You paratroop into that thing, and if the quarterback plays good, you can be pretty elite pretty quick.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw they win 14 games the year before.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course they certainly can. They can be right there. So I think that'd be a great place for him. I think that Atlanta would be a great place for him. You've got Drake London, Bijan, Kyle Pitts. You've got weapons, as you talked about there in Minnesota, ready-made for you. So, yeah, I think either of those would be excellent landing spots for Kyler Murray. To me, it's always the idea of going to the NFC South if I want to win.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go. I just feel like that's the easiest place to win.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the spot. I mean, we know Kevin. How do you think do you think he would be what he's looking for?
I don't necessarily think so in terms of just, the traditional of the rigidity at times of what he wants his quarterback to do. But I do think with Tommy Rees there that they could say, all right, let's just open it up and just let our players play. And I think they could be a pretty darn good offense with Kyler Murray. I really do.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that from a Murray's perspective, you would look at Atlanta. I would be thinking domes and weapons. So I think Atlanta, Minnesota race to the top of that list. I have seen a lot of stuff about Pittsburgh with him as well. I just don't see that. That doesn't.
No,
I don't get that.
Outdoors
I don't see
cold now.
Yeah,
that's why I like the South for him too.
Yeah, play in the South, play with weapons.
Dome.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah. And Miami is an interesting one, I suppose, as well. There's always an allure, obviously, with Miami for professional athletes. They do not have Tyreek Hill. They still have Jalen Waddle, but new staff down there. It feels like Hafley's going to go after Malik Willis. He would know him better than anybody. But that's another place that maybe you could see this kind of go. I do think that Kyler is, in terms of plug and play, has done it at a very high level when healthy. He's the one that's the top. Like, I don't – there's no scenario I would compare him to Malik Willis. Not to say Malik Willis can't end up being good, but I've seen Kyler be really good. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler in a legitimate way, not necessarily like, hey, we need a guy, come on in. That's not necessarily the case. So he's done it. He's done it at a high level. When healthy, he can be a bit of a problem. And I do think now that this is officially done, he's going to be a true free agent and ready to be acquired. I do wonder if he's the first domino.
Yeah, I think he is. Geno Smith, if you watch the shows, Geno Smith is being talked about
He's
a
35.
lot.
Like, that would be Pittsburgh to me, would be that.
So
he went to West Virginia.
Yep.
He's 35. He's got a big arm. I mean, that sounds like a McCarthy quarterback to me. So, that seems like Pittsburgh to me. I just don't.
If Rodgers is, I feel like Rodgers is going to be there.
You think he's going to be anywhere?
Okay, so I was watching again. I obviously with young Master Luca, we watch Good Morning Football, so I see a lot of stuff. They're operating under the assumption that yes, Aaron Rodgers to be a Steeler.
He'd be back.
Kind of everything that's talked about is that he is going to be a Steeler.
Could be.
And maybe he won't be, and that would Geno Smith would make a lot of sense there. Basically, what they keep saying about Geno Smith is that when you look at his play in Seattle, and then you look at what he did last year with the Raiders, that he's still a very good quarterback, and that he was held back by the Raiders' scheme, the talent or lack of talent around him. And again, I was very impressed by him. You go back and play the audio of the game. There are multiple times in the game. I say, I got to tell you something. I know that they're not doing anything, but I'm really impressed with Geno Smith.
Yeah, I remember that. Some
of the throws he made, and I think we sacked him 10 times that game.
Yeah, I felt bad for him.
Yeah. So, I don't watch every Raiders game, so I don't know what the tape is. I just know, unfortunately for him, the team that he quarterbacked for 2 years ago won the Super Bowl the year after he left, and then the last team he just quarterbacked for now is the number 1 pick. So, It just doesn't feel great.
No, it doesn't. All right, coming up next, we're going to head back to the Combine. Z and Mr. Siciliano chatting with Field Yates. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For the ultimate Browns gear, head to the Browns Pro Shop, a Fanatics experience right next to Huntington Bank Field. Jerseys, hats, hoodies, collectibles, exclusive merch. You will not find anything else. You will not find anywhere else. Shop in-store online at shop.clevelandbrowns.com. The Browns Pro Shop, official merch for true Browns fans. Now we head back to the Combine. Here is Z and Mr. Siciliano with
baby.
ESPN's Field Yates.
Business is picking up. I mean, just look at this suit right here. This is absolutely spectacular.
I feel
Great.
overdressed.
Compared to us, you are, in fact. But when you are a luminary of your level, NFL draft analyst for ESPN, NFL Draft Daily, 3 o'clock on ESPN, and, of course, great friend of the program, Field Yates.
It's great to be here. And now I need to come back. I haven't been called a luminary for a while. So,
well, the suit is luminous.
It is. I mean,
luminescent.
Yes.
The best part is, as Andrew noted, it's stretchy. It's
Oh,
soft.
the fabric, I said, it's
important.
That's my kind of fabric.
But when you're
right
on your
there.
feet for a lot of hours,
Absolutely.
at the Combine, you got to have the right
That
suit.
is a performance suit.
Yeah, it's like a neoprene sleeve.
We have
your
totally
body.
this is like exactly what the audience wants.
Right.
It's like, 3 guys talking fashion, but we have really changed the game when it comes to
no
suits
doubt.
and formal wear, No more of those sort of starchy suits back in the day.
Yeah.
We graduated.
I mean, this is more like you're in a luge or a bobsled in Cortina.
Yes. By the way, crushed it.
Oh, the Gold
Thank you.
Zone, phenomenal.
I appreciate
Amazing.
it. That
Yes.
was not where I was trying to go, but you're
Andrew did
you're a
crush it
gentleman.
to the
I
surprise
appreciate
of
you.
0 people whatsoever.
Zero
That's right.
people.
Yep.
An absolute Big B broadcaster over there. All right, Combine. You love the Combine. Who
best.
doesn't love the Combine?
Yeah.
What do you love the most about it?
The people. I love being around the action. I love the fact that you've got every team represented, not necessarily in the same form. We've heard and seen teams not bring their GMs or head coaches anymore. Is their opinion is they're better suited to kind of keep hammering away either on the draft or other stuff.
The less needification
Yes,
of the conference.
yeah, and
yes.
I don't think the Rams have suffered much from
No,
not having
I'd
Les
say
or
not.
Sean here, right? So a lot of different ways to go about your business, but I still love the energy of this week. It's a big step in the process. For those of us that live the draft year-round, this is not the beginning of the draft process, but a lot of people are busy during the regular season and the playoffs, and so they're kind of getting introduced into these prospects. But it's a gigantic jigsaw puzzle, and this gets us a little bit closer to completion. Not that everything is decided this week, but this is a good week to put some pieces of context into the database that help you make more informed decisions as you're ranking and evaluating and projecting these players over the next, I guess it's a little under 8 weeks now.
Yeah. There are inevitably, every year,
Yep.
might be tonight, linebackers and D-linemen. Inevitably, every year, there's a guy that tests out of the gym or steals the combine when we actually get to the drills where you go, all right, I guess I got to go back and look at his tape.
Yeah.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
Any idea who that's going to be?
So I want to preface this by saying that if I name a name that ends up not working out, that is one of the themes of this year that I've noticed is that we are seeing a lot of guys just not take part in this week as
Is it
much.
the playoff?
Yep.
I think it's a couple of different factors there. I do think that the NIL era has probably led to players understandably feeling like they have more control of sort of their path during the college
Good for
process.
them.
Right? And it's totally their prerogative. And I think there are guys who are coming in with the mindset that there's only things for me to lose as opposed to things to gain this week. And when you have people, you have a circle that is telling you that like there's only a lot to lose and not much to gain, then I understand why your mindset is, if you're Reuben Bain and they say to you, hey, you're probably a top 10 to 12 pick right now, but if you work out, and I don't think Reuben would have off the chart testing numbers, and that could be the difference between you going 10 versus 18. Is it worth it? That's
right.
And that's just one example, and maybe he would challenge and say that he actually would have elite testing numbers. My eyes don't tell me that he is going to be in the same category of athlete as some of the other guys that will go high. So that was a much longer-winded preface than I probably intended, but there are guys towards the back end of the first round that I think have a lot to gain this week. Cassius Howell from Texas A&M is a good example of a guy who he should be a total rock star in the testing process. Biggest consideration for him is he's got shorter arms. He's got which I always feel weird talking about. These guys have short arms, and I probably have like 28-inch arms, but he's probably under 32 inches, which is by some teams' estimation is kind of like a minimum threshold.
I got the measurement for you here. Keep talking.
R. Mason Thomas. Has he? Oh, good.
Yep.
That's what happens. You have your phone on you or not as readily
Hey, you're
available.
making the
morning.
rounds.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's 30 and a quarter. It's
30
not
and a quarter arms.
30 and a quarter.
Okay, so there was some talk about him being like 31 and a half during the
30,
seasons.
it's not good. It would be, and It would be historically
that's short. Yep,
arm.
30 and a quarter arms you said for him.
Yes.
Do we get Bain or no?
Yeah, we got Bain too. Both are not encouraging.
See, I promised to the audience I was not.
Was a good setup.
What's your guess on Bain?
Bain was, I believe, at like 30 and 6/8 during the season.
30 and 7/8.
7/8. Okay, so that measurement. So they do take measurements of players. It's a helpful tool during the season or before the season, and scouts have them. There were some that were saying that Bain was mismeasured and he was going to be closer to 32. We have 50 plus years of the draft. Not saying that what happened in the past specifically dictates the future, but when you have a lot of players to choose from and you're looking for tiebreakers, sometimes you do rely on history. And if there's not a long list of guys with 30 and 7/8 inch arms and you've got two pass rushers pretty closely graded, then you might break the tie with the guys who got the 33 inch arms. So Cassius Howell would be the guy that can help himself with the athletic testing. R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. Do we get measurements on him?
We do. Let me give you David Bailey first.
Oh, okay.
Just for comparison's sake.
Yep.
For people that say it doesn't matter.
Sure.
David Bailey, 33 and 3/4.
Yep. Totally.
So
that's
yeah. And
totally good right there.
R. Mason Thomas, 31. I beg your pardon. 31 and 5/8.
Yeah. So he'll be right on the border there. 31 and 5/8. So those are the kind of guys that they may press closer to the end of the first round.
You don't want to bet on outliers.
Be good. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, right? Yeah. And I know that Andrew Berry and his staff have, I think Andrew, having been in this chair long enough, you have a little bit of a general feel for how he goes about his business. And I would say that Andrew, generally, and this is not every single draft pick, but I would say there's a strong history of he's been a very traitsy GM, right? He has bet on height, weight, speed guys, younger prospects as well, right? They've been drawn to the true juniors, the 4-year players, and we're in a new world where there's a lot of guys that have been playing for 5 or 6 years because NIL draws you back in. You redshirt your freshman season. By your 5th year, you're making $5 million. That
seems pretty good.
Hard to pass on, right? So I do think that the measurements matter for some teams more than others, and I would say the Browns seem to be a team that does skew towards them.
To your point, Dylan Sampson and Harold Fannin went through training camp as 20-year-olds last year. Sampson didn't turn 21 until week 2 in Baltimore.
He was youngest player in the league.
Insane.
He was youngest player in the league the entire year.
Insane. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of guys. So Keldrick Falk from Auburn, one of the youngest players in this draft class. Monroe Freeling, one of the younger players in this class, offensive tackle from Georgia.
He could play at 24, could he not? If he's there at 24?
I've been on the NFL our show with Kuiper and Green that we do first draft, and I've said if we did a bold prediction show, is Monroe Freeling going 6th overall like the single craziest thing you've ever heard? It isn't to me, and I am a known Monroe Freeling believer, stan, if you will. We were just talking about measurables, 6'7". Once he measures, it might be 35+ inch arms for him. A wingspan that might challenge 85, 86 inches. I think his best football's ahead of him.
Can he play with Jared Allen and Mobley?
That would be also useful. Okay. Although James Harden's thought we're going to play through it. All right, we're going to play through it. NBA is funny. I don't have a reason for that loss last night, but we digress. But yes, so I think that Monroe is going to have some. I think he's primed for a move up the board, but I could be miscalculating it. You try to and this is a Kuiper mindset that he's shared with me that I try to remind myself of is your ratings are how you see the players. Your mock drafts are how you think the NFL will see the players. So my rating may be a bit incongruent with how I have Monroe Freeling in mock drafts, but I'm bullish on the player, and I think for teams that value sort of potential archetypes, he's one of them.
Let's talk about this draft for the Browns since we got into the tackle position. It's obvious that is a big need. The other, I would say, is a stud wide receiver.
Sure, yeah.
How do you feel? Let's start with the receivers. How do you feel about this receiver class? And is there somebody at 6 that could be that number 1 for the Cleveland Browns?
I think Carnell Tate is the answer as wide receiver 1 in this class. Good debates between him, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. All of them very different in terms of how they get the job done. Carnell Tate this past season had his biggest role at Ohio State. He was not the wide receiver 1. They have Jeremiah Smith, who could be top 5 pick next year. We'll see. You guys obviously know Jeremiah's game.
He's going to be the wide receiver 1 on basically right now. Jeremiah Smith will be the number 1 on 27 NFL teams.
Yeah, he's an amazing prospect, unbelievable prospect. So it's not really a thing against Carnell. It's more just the reality of Ohio State's wide receiver depth for all these years. With Tate, he is. I don't think he would blow you away with his speed. I think his body control is superlative. I think he's just always on balance. He has played both big slot role, put in the perimeter, had just one drop this past season, averaged over 17 yards a catch. So while his speed is not, 4.33, he can definitely get down the field. Yep. Love the route running, so disciplined, so detailed, right place, right time consistently, and effortless. I always say that nobody looks like they're sweating less than Carnell Tate when he plays. It all comes very naturally to him. Well coached at Ohio State, obviously. Jordan Tyson, extremely explosive. He's a trickier evaluation this season because he had a couple factors working against him. He was banged up this past year, dealt with a hamstring injury after previously dealing with a broken collarbone and a major knee injury. And his quarterback play this past year was undone, right? Sam Levitt is now at LSU. The entire Arizona State season kind of went by the wayside. So if you're just using this past year's film, like third times, where my favorite plays from Jordan Tyson are the plays in which the ball was nowhere near him. Mm-hmm. It's like he dusts some corner on a ridiculous route, and the quarterback throws the ball to the other side of the field, but you're like, if he had gotten that ball, we might be talking about him in a different light.
Sure.
But the medical will be factored into his evaluation.
Yeah,
Mekhi Lemon is such a baller, great player, tough, great after the catch, strong hands. When he measures this week, he might be sub 5'10". Or he's going to be in that 5'10"-ish range.
And that's kind of the thing about this wide receiver class. I mean, there are big guys.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of 5'11" dudes as well to play in the slot.
A lot of those,
yeah.
yes.
Or they're playing out wide at 5'11".
So it's a very unique class in that way. But I love Carnell Tate. I think he would be, if I'm picking one at 6 and he's available, he'd be my pick for the Browns. People keep saying, do you just, the wide receiver depth is so great. Do you just take an offensive tackle at 6 and then take a wide receiver at 24? A couple things. As evidenced last year, you can move up or down the board. That's allowed in the NFL draft. And that it's easy for us to say, yeah, you should take Carnell Tate at 6 because so-and-so is going to be available at 24, or vice versa. I think when you're on the clock, it's a lot harder to muster the courage to bet on that happening, right? You are projecting it might happen, but it's tough. Like when you're sitting there and you're like, I don't want to lose this player, even if you think the wide receiver depth is better. If you got a higher grade on the wide receiver than the offensive tackle and you're bullish on him, then I think you just take the wide receiver. You owe it to yourself and your scouting staff and your coaching staff that your process is sound enough that, this player is deserving of this pick. And as you look ahead, that there's a chance that a couple of the guys you like will be there at 24.
Real quick on a Buckeye here, another Buckeye. Mel, and this is the portion of the show, and I hate being put in this position as well. Hey, I can't believe the guy that you work with did this comment on it.
No.
Okay. Mel's got Caleb Downs at 2. Mm-hmm. That seems a bit rich for me, and I love the player.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
It's been, let me see if I can do math, 91, which was, 35 years ago?
Jamal Adams? No, 91. Okay. Jamal Adams was the last.
The Browns.
Yep.
Who was 90? Right. Oh, Eric Turner.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace, Eric Turner.
One of an all-time great and one of the great Syracuse alums, of course, right? He was Cuse, wasn't he?
UCLA.
UCLA, yes, I screwed that up. Totally missed that one.
We had Donovan Darius in that era.
You did that right. You did that right. You said one of the great Syracuse alums and pointed.
Yeah, that's right. I was pointing to Andrew. Yes, I don't know why I had Eric Turner.
Donovan Darius, Tabaki Jones in that era.
Yeah, Tabaki was a great player as well. Why did I have? That's a weird one for Eric Turner. I apologize. But he was the highest drafted safety ever, number 2 overall. So it's been a while since we had somebody go that high at that position. And I think there's part of it is evaluating this draft landscape. How many guys are definitely better than Caleb Downs? Not many of them. And then part of it comes down to this is it's hard to say this and to process this sometimes, but it's almost like if you had this allotment of whatever the resource is, right? If you want to call it dollars, you want to call it draft capital, whatever it is. And it's like you have this chance to buy commodities. Which of these commodities is most valuable on the open market? It's like which one would you prioritize? And so some of it is if you have the number 2 overall pick and you're the Jets, do you owe it to yourself to take a pass rusher? Somebody that impacts the quarterback because what does Myles Garrett make per year? $40 million or 40.25 versus what does the top safety make? And that's, I think it's now Kyle Hamilton at $24 million per year. So positional value is factored into it. The pro Caleb Downs case is amazing. And if you're the Jets, you're saying we've got 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years.
And he's safe.
Let's make sure we hit 5 out of 5.
Good players.
Yeah. Go for the full allotment of players will be great. Then you just take them and you say, we can rest easy knowing that, hey, we're off to a 1-for-1 start. We're on base,
Yeah, Yeah, it is so cool hearing all of the conversations from the Combine and then seeing the NFL get back to work with the business at hand. Today was a very busy day. We anticipate that those days will continue in the lead up to true free agency that is coming right around the corner. We appreciate you listening, as always. This is Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly.